Hi, Terry.
Hi, Fran.
Hi. Okay, we're gonna start with your name, age, and country.
Want me to do microphone clap?
No. Okay, fine, do it.
Yes! My name is Thierry. I am 26 and I'm from Quebec, Canada.
Awesome. What do you do? Or do you have a job, and what do you do, or what was your job before?
I'm a primary school music teacher. Well, I was before going traveling, but I'm a primary school music teacher. I'm looking at the camera, not at you.
It's okay. It's kind of the same question. I was gonna ask, like, what you were doing before this. Just
fair enough.
say the same thing, basically.
Cool. I was a teacher for music.
Okay. Of all the places, okay. Oh wait, this is a good one. Okay, how long have you been traveling and where?
Oh, I've been traveling for now 223 days.
Woo!
I've been around out of Central America and parts of Central America.
Nice.
Out of South America, parts of Central America. I don't know how that sounded.
Yeah. And of all the places you've been to, what was your favorite? What's one place that you would love to go back to?
I've not done everything I wanted to do in Chile, so I could go back to Chile to do the south in Patagonia.
Wow!
Yeah.
I'm Chilean, guys. Okay, anyways. Okay. What does traveling mean to you? Why do you travel? Like, why do you put so much effort into being able to travel for this past year?
It's about discovery. I think, like, it's so motivating. Like, for your brain, there's always something different happening every day, which doesn't really happen if you're stuck with like your routine back home.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, even right now I'm working here, but it's not even a routine because it's changing all the time. There's new guesses. I get to decide what I do in my free time. I can walk more. It's fun. I like it.
How do you compare like your travel life to your home life?
Ooh. I have more friends traveling. Oh, that's sad. That's so sad. It's accurate, but it's sad.
I agree with that. Honestly.
Yeah, no, but you feel, when you're traveling, you feel like you're allowed to talk more to people that you meet in a hostel. You already have common points that, like, I'm not from here and I'm currently here right now. Why? You can just go talk to random strangers, travelers, which is not something you can do really back home. Or you could do it, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the like depth of connection that you can make with those friends here versus home?
Ooh. I mean, it depends, because here, like right now, we're volunteering, so we're working together and we're spending a long time. I feel like when you're traveling a lot and you're changing place quickly, you don't make that deep connections because it's like 2 days. Like, oh, wonderful, 2 days I spent with that person. Now it's a contact I have on Instagram that I know. I have like friends from all over, and I'll say it's hard to make deeper connection, but when it happens, it works better because of that, basically.
Yeah. Okay. If you could go back in time to yourself 5 years ago, what advice would you give to yourself, or anything that you want to tell yourself?
Fuck, I knew you were gonna ask that. I still haven't thought of that.
Okay.
I would just tell myself that everything works out in the end, because there's gonna be like bumpy roads and stuff, and I'm gonna feel like it's not gonna work out in the end, but I won't, like, spoiler alert, like, hey, it's gonna work. It's fine.
How is your iguana experience? And what I mean by that is not the work, it's just like more of the living in community and volunteering here.
We spend a lot of days just chilling on the bench and looking at the volcanoes and talking shit. And yeah, that's how I would like summarize the whole thing. It's nice. I really like it. I think it's a very cool, dynamic group of friends that we have here.
And when you go back home, do you have like anything planned out, any job or anything like that?
I have an interview the day right after I'm coming back. Coming back the 21st, I got an interview on the 22nd of March. That's what I have planned. I'm probably gonna work again as a teacher because I actually like my job, and yeah.
Okay, last question. What would you tell someone who doesn't really like someone that wants to travel but they haven't, and because they're scared that their friends don't want to do it with them?
Oh, you can totally do it alone. You don't need to do it with your friends. It's way easier than people think it is. It's way cheaper than people think it is. There's a bunch of alternative ways to. It's so easy to meet people while traveling. You don't need necessarily to do it with a friend.
Okay, this is
Fuck
actually.
'em.
I don't know if this is a good question to include for everyone, but like
For me,
in the let's
special
see.
questions is for me.
In the last 6 weeks that you've been in Guatemala,
Yeah.
how much money have you spent?
Ooh.
In USD.
In USD? I don't know. I don't speak USD.
Alright, say Canadian.
No hablo.
I'll change it.
Cool, thanks. Last 6 weeks, 1,200 Canadian dollars.
Okay. Thank you, Thierry.
800 USD, I think.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say or add?
Follow Harold Flamingo Jr. on Instagram. That's a good plug. Yeah, I'll do that.
And
Easy,
Thierry
cool.
has a really great PowerPoint of why you should date him on YouTube.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Also check that.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
This is Erin.
Hello.
Like she's being shy, but she's sassy. It's okay. Everybody hates the camera. Okay, first, like the first question's easy. It's just name, age, and country.
I'm Erin. I'm 19 years old. I'm from the United States.
Let's say here. Where's my number? Oh, here we go. Okay. What were you doing before this?
I spent the last 6 months working in the States just so I could save up enough money to come on this trip.
What kind of job?
I was serving for weddings, really fancy stuff.
Nice. And you found that through?
A website called coolworks.com.
Okay, and so how long, I guess it was interrupted by the last job, but just in general, how long have you been traveling and where have you gone?
I have been traveling for almost 2 years now. I have been to like 13 or 14 countries by now. I started off in Italy, made my way around Europe for the last year, and now I'm here.
Nice. And can you just explain like the part of the au pair jobs?
I spent 6 months out of last year as an au pair. Basically, it's like a nanny, but you live in the house with them. Don't be an au pair. Don't do it.
Okay, let's see. Okay, from all the places that you've been, what's the one place that you love so much that you would go back to?
I loved Edinburgh in Scotland. It's one of my favorite places I've ever traveled. I think it's because I was a huge Harry Potter fan as a kid. It's a magical, magical city. The architecture is gorgeous. The vibe is amazing. My favorite club in the world is in Edinburgh. It's
Really?
called The Street. It's a gay club. It's really fun.
That sounds fun. I would not have think that from the name. I don't know. Okay, what does traveling mean to you? Why are you putting so much effort and intention in it?
I think for me, traveling is about putting myself out of my comfort zone and doing things that scare me and learning about myself and about other people. Learning about like how I interact with other people, how other people experience the world, and it's a big place, it's a big world. There's lots of people to meet, and I think that I would be remiss if I didn't try to meet them all.
How do you compare your travel life to your home life back home?
That's a hard question because most of my adult life so far has been spent traveling. So for me, there's not a lot of separation, but I hope that when I go home, I'm able to bring what I've learned traveling back home. And
what have you learned?
I think one of the biggest things that I take away from traveling is just having empathy for other people, because everyone's worldly experience is like vastly different, and when you see the world from someone else's perspective, it's a lot easier to empathize with someone and see like, oh, maybe my way is not the only way to live.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things I notice a lot when I travel is like, man, like we're all the same. Like we're all the same, just from different countries. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. Okay, well, I guess might be hard for you to answer too, since the adult life thing. But like, how would you compare the depth of connections that you make when you're traveling versus the friendships at home?
I would say it's a lot deeper. I think people that travel are like the type of people that I hope I'm able to surround myself with for the rest of my life. I don't want to say boring, but I think there's something special about people that will go out of their way in order to experience new things, new cultures, meet new people.
I agree. Seriously. Thierry was like, I make more friends when I'm traveling. I'm like, me too, bro.
I do too.
Me too. We all do. Okay. It's so funny because you're young, so like some of these questions don't really apply, but if you could go back 5 years and give yourself some advice or like tell yourself a message, anything, what would it be?
I think that's a good question, actually. I went on this trip to Mexico with my family when I was like 14, so that would have been like 5 years ago. And I remember it was so incredible. I never traveled much as a kid. Like, my family never really traveled. And I came home from that trip and I started like researching travel, how to travel. And it always seemed like this far away, like impossibility. I could never make it happen, like traveling full time for 2 years. And I would go back and I would say that, like, honestly, that like you can make anything happen, little Erin, and it's not inaccessible to do what you want. And I think when I was younger, I thought that the only thing I should be pushing myself towards is like school or a career or something along those lines. And I think I would tell myself that it's important to be passionate, but it doesn't have to be about what everyone thinks it should be about.
I really love like the path that you've chosen, and like you can't decide your kid's future, but I hope if I have kids someday that like I can really inspire them to do exactly what you did. Like, don't go to college right after high school, just travel. You can always do it when you're a little older, who cares, or not. Okay, how was your Iguana experience? And by that I don't mean like the work part, I mean just like the volunteers, living in community.
I think it's been wonderful. This is like the third hostel that I've worked at. Chula! Chula! Come here, Chula!
Chula's oh! I'm like, Chula, my computer. Okay.
Yeah, this is the third hostel that I've worked at, and it's been the best so far. I mean, it's a gorgeous place. But aside from all that, I think the people have been really wonderful. It's been a really nice 4 weeks now, spending my days in the sun, good company.
Cigarettes.
Too many cigarettes.
Too many. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, what would you say to someone that they're like, oh, I really want to travel, but I don't want to do it alone, and my friends want to go?
I would say just commit. You just have to commit. It's really not like, I think it's a huge privilege to be able to travel. But especially solo travel, I feel like I spend more time with people than I do alone. And like working at a hostel like this, such a social environment, that I have to remind myself when I need to take time for myself. Like, I don't feel like I'm traveling by myself, because I'm not by myself. I'm always around people. I'm always around lovely humans.
If anything, it's literally impossible to get alone time.
Yeah.
Okay, last question is, for the 4 weeks that you've been in Guatemala, how much money have you spent?
I've been here 2 months actually.
Oh, okay. For the 2 months you've been in Guatemala, how much money have you spent?
My first month here I spent about 500. I just had to get a new passport, so I'm not gonna factor that into my
Yeah.
budget because that was fucking expensive. And I think this month I've spent less than 500.
Nice. Thank you, Erin. That was all. Is there anything you'd like to say or add or plug?
Follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is BOWEFIELD.
Woo! Thank you.
But English it's not my language.
That's okay. Hi, Elon.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, friend.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
friend.
This is like a conversation, you know? Okay. So, first question is, what were you doing before you were traveling?
So I've been in the army for 3 years. I finished the army like in 2020, and then I traveled in Israel a little bit, like for 6 months. I just did nothing, traveling and doing nothing and things that I like, but I didn't have like a job. And then I started working at constructions, eco constructions, for a little bit more than 1 year, and then I started traveling.
Can you hold it a little closer? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you pretty much answered the third question, which was how long were you traveling and where? Or did you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. How long were you traveling and where? wait. Hold on.
So far I'm traveling almost 11 months. I've been 6 months in Mexico, yes, 6 months in Mexico, and almost 5 months in Guatemala.
Okay. And of all the places that you've been to, what's your favorite? What's the place that you would love to go back?
I can say that one of my favorites is the Iguana Perdida. But I probably won't want to be back because I've been a long time. I really liked in Mexico the mountains of Oaxaca, San Mateo. That's how the village used to live in cold.
So the other question is like, what does traveling mean to you? Why put so much effort in all the travels that you've done?
For me, traveling, like as you know me, I'm, like by the fact that I'm here for 4 months, and also before I got here, I don't move a lot. Like for me, traveling, it's not necessarily hiking or see a lot of places. It's to feel free in a place that you don't have responsibility, and by responsibility I mean like home responsibility you have, like a job or friends that you need or want to meet, spend a lot of time with them and put efforts in the relationships. Here I just for my own, I stay wherever I want to stay. I spend my time with people I want to spend my time. For me, just this freedom that I can do whatever I want. Tomorrow morning, leave the place I stay now and go to other place. And just do whatever I want. But in places that I like, with people that I like.
Yeah. It wasn't too loud, I promise. It's just
No, for you.
No, I was just gonna say I really agree with that, and I've never heard it said that way before, because I always feel like I'm also like not really drawn to the hiking or like doing all that stuff, or like, and I don't know, I was like kind of judging myself on it at one point, and then I'm like, no, my favorite part about traveling is the same as you, just the people that I meet, and like that's the main reason why I do it.
Yeah, for me, I can relate to the fact that you feel bad, that you
Yeah.
don't like it. And it's not that I don't like to hike and I
Yeah.
don't like to move, but just what makes me more happy. It's to live in other places around the world with other people, not to stay 2 nights in a hostel or change every day like views or meet new people. For me, I like it even while traveling, and I think it's totally fine to stay in the same place if you feel good at that place. It's still
Yeah.
traveling, it's still not to be in your comfort zone or in your home or in your bed back home. It's still traveling. It's more like spiritual traveling than physical.
Yeah, I love that. How do you? I'm like tuk tuk. I'm like, let me just show what's over here. It's a road with some loud ass cars. Okay.
Guatemala.
How do you compare your travel life to your home life?
Can you explain the question better?
I feel like in a way you kind of already talked about it a little bit, but I don't know. We could skip that one. Like you.
No, okay. So like I said, it's the fact that I don't have responsibilities, but it's not just the responsibility of going to work or clean your house, or I don't know. It's also not be under the pressure that you have. Like, for example, I think in Israel, before I started traveling, I had more the pressure of be productive and maybe start think more for the long term, like study and money. And here I'm thinking about money, but not in. I think there is a huge difference between like how I get money and just how I spend the money in the ways I want. Because I am still thinking a little bit about money while traveling, but it's better, I think, to think like how to spend it and not how to earn it, and be worried about I need money for house, I need money for study. Here it's like, I need money for eat in the restaurant that I want, or sleep in the hostel I want, or take the flight to the place I want. It's a better way to think about money, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like it's almost like a mental break from the pressures of like, what am I gonna do with my future, like all that. I think about that a lot. Okay, how do you compare the depth of connection that you make? The depth of connection that you make with people or with friends here versus home.
Okay, what is the word depth?
Depth, like how deep.
Okay. So, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. How do you compare the depth of connection that you make with other people when you're traveling versus when you're home?
I think back home I have a lot of very deep connections, but there's all kinds of relationships. But it's kind of relationships that always been there, because it's friends that I grew up with, or my family that I grew up with, or relationships that kind of forced. Like, it sounds bad, but not. Like, for example, a lot of my deep relationships is with my friends from the army. So it took time, but we lived together 2 years. So we did a lot of shit together, and naturally we started to know each other better, and that's what I mean, kind of forced.
Yeah.
But it's because we didn't choose to spend time together.
Yeah.
It just happened. Here it's different, because you meet someone and like in 2 days you can be the best friend, and you can arrive to a place all by yourself, meet someone, drinking coffee together, and suddenly like it's the best friends you have now. This is the best friends you have in the world that you can talk with, that you can be with.
Yeah.
And it's make the connections, I think, very deep, very fast. I was very surprised in some of the relationships that I earned. I will say earned. I think it's earning this. while traveling because it was super fast and it was very new to me. Like to meet someone and spend so much time with him, like because you want and also because you kind of need maybe sometimes. And I didn't know it's possible.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. And you can choose it. That's I think the most different thing from relationships at home because you choose who you want to be in a relationship with and have a connection with. And I think it's one of the amazing things.
I agree with that. I think like everyone's answer has been the same so far. They're just like the depth of connection, traveling. Something about it is just so, it's just different. I don't know if it's because like everyone here is receptive to meeting people, so we're all coming in with like open hearts and that's why it's easier, but or because we're all like-minded in a way.
I think also when people go traveling, especially when they go travel solo, it's kind of a challenge. I guess for most of the people it's a challenge that they know they need to face with like connections and relationships because I think for most of the people it's new. To every few days meet someone new and get friends with, and it's something that a lot of people who go traveling expect it and also know it's challenging, so they really like come prepared for this.
Yeah.
And it's really changed your way because in Israel here it's like it's happened and it will happen that I see someone that seems like I feel something between us and I don't know him, but I will see him drinking coffee alone and I will come to sit and ask, can I join you? And then we start talking.
Yeah.
In Israel I will never do it
Yeah.
because I have my friends and but
Yeah.
when traveling it's supernatural and it's
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, at home if you did that, they'd be like, who
Weirdo.
are you?
Weirdo.
Okay, if you could, wait, hold on. Okay, if you could give advice to yourself 5 years ago or tell yourself, like, even just pop in for a moment and just, like, say a message, like, what would you say?
Yeah, maybe it's not a good answer for your interview, but I wouldn't say nothing because I really believe that things happened in the way they should happen, and everything that happened, even if it's like bad things, it's part of the way. So I won't change anything, and yeah, I also I don't want that alone. That alone of like 5 years from now will send me a message because I want to make my shit and my mistakes, and so I won't do it.
I love that. There's no right answer. Okay. How is your iguana experience? And by that, I don't mean the work. I mean like living here with the volunteers and being in community.
For me, it was like pretty amazing experience. I arrived here 4 months ago with my parents. My parents came to travel with me, and my dad took us to this hostel. And I still can't explain exactly why I stayed here so long, but something here really attracted me. Usually I don't like hostels. I also didn't sleep much in hostels before while traveling before here, but I don't know, something in the... First of all, I think this place is beautiful in the view and in the hostel, I don't know, all the things you can do in the hostel. It was really nice to come here the first time. And then also you find out that all the people here, the workers, the volunteers, the staff, the guests, somehow all of them amazing. I think it's because the energy of this place, what this place, how it works. And for me, I think after like 3 weeks that I just stayed here because I liked it, I realized this is, after like 7 months of traveling, this is a good place to stay, feel home for a little bit, or not so little, because I'm here for 4 months. But it was a good place to stop moving for a few months and just be part of something. And I think just work in an amazing way. It's affected all the people who come in, volunteers and guests as well.
I feel it. Okay, what are once when you leave Guatemala? What are your plans? What are your plans after this?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave in a few days, and I'm going south. I guess El Salvador, Nicaragua, and then I hope to go to South America. It's all depends on how money I'm gonna have. But for now, I just want to keep traveling as long as I can. I really like it. I really appreciate the fact that I can do it now, and there is nothing wait for me at home. Like there is a lot that wait for me at home, but it's not going anywhere right now. So I just want to travel as long as I can.
And when you go back home, like you're just gonna try to find whatever job or like go back into construction or
No, for now, and I don't think it's gonna change, but I know that when I be back in Israel, like I know that I stopped traveling for a while and I have like 2 years at least in Israel. I want to start studying some way sound engineering, and it's really exciting. This is the only reason I really want to go back to Israel, to start doing it already, because it's something that I really have passion about and I really want to do it. And I just want to start doing this stuff. Yeah.
that's really cool. I didn't know that.
How you know?
Did you go to university?
No.
No? That's really definitely do that. You will be famous. Guys, if he's famous and you're watching this in 2050, I don't know, follow me on Instagram. Okay, just like 2 more. What would you tell someone that wants to travel but they don't want to do it alone? They're scared to, none of their friends want to go.
Not everyone need to travel alone. If you don't feel it, maybe you shouldn't do it. But I will recommend everyone to try it. The first reason it's because it's nice experience, even if for 3 days and it's terribly bad for you and you feel bad. I think it's a good experience for life to travel alone. So I think everyone should try to do it. So there's 2 options. Or after 3 days, you don't like it, but you have nice experience, or you realize that there is something there, and then maybe you want to do it more. And eventually, I think it could be a nice surprise, even if you thought that you don't want to travel alone. But I think definitely everyone should try to do it.
I think maybe a week, like 3 days, because I feel like yeah, I know. Just the first couple of days, I think it's so normal to feel like anxious or what did I do?
More,
yeah. Even
but
more.
3 days it's reasonable period of time. Yeah, if you can try more, but at least 3 days just for the experience.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Oh. And you don't have to answer this, so
So I won't.
don't wait. But seriously, you don't have to, because I don't think you're gonna want to. But you've been in Guatemala 4 months.
Yeah.
And you've been working how many of those here?
1 month.
For a month? Okay. So for the 4 months that you've been in Guatemala,
Yeah.
how much money have you spent?
Not much.
Really?
The first month I was with my parents and they paid for everything.
Nice.
Thank you, mom and dad. And this was like expensive month because we traveled all around Guatemala. And since they left, I stayed in the lake, and I have friends that I slept in their houses, and the hostel when I arrived here was very cheap.
Yeah.
And I was volunteering 1 month from this period, and I didn't eat much when I didn't have free food. Yeah, I can't tell. I'm sorry, but I guess like something like 700 for dollar for month, maybe, on average.
Okay, Alon, that's it. Thank you so much. Is there anything? Shut up. Okay, the last, I don't know, it's just like, if there's anything that you would like to say, share, or plug. Plug means like social media something.
Fran is an amazing person. I'm really glad that I met her. She's absolutely amazing and super interesting human being. And I'm very grateful about meeting her and knowing her. It's not you, it's other Fran. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Argo. Hi. Okay, name, age, and country.
Argo 24, Italy.
What were you doing before this?
I was in the US studying as an international bartender course in New York. That's it.
Okay. How long have you been traveling for, and where have you been?
Now there are like 1 year, almost 1 year and a half. I was in the US, Iceland, Germany, and before when I was living in Italy, I was traveling all around Europe.
Of all the places that you've been, what's the one place that you love so much that you would go back?
Nowhere,
Why?
because there is still a lot of place to see, so you cannot decide.
Okay. What does traveling mean? What does traveling mean to you? Like, why do you even do it?
I guess because it's the only way to live my life and allows me to be myself completely without the settlement way to live generally of society. So like instead of like making rules and blah blah blah, I can keep moving, meeting people, learning new languages, understanding new cultures, and keep discovering things instead of just staying in one place.
That's what you mean by like it allows you to be more yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you compare your wait. Yeah. How do you compare your travel life to your home life? Like when you go when you're home.
I'm not going home, so it's better.
This is your home life now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pascal used to say that.
What?
Pascal used to say that the traveling is tremendous because how you can say chops you off of all your friends, of your family, and everything that you have with you is like the air, the sky, the ocean, the ground, and finishing, and whatever you can feel or think about is tends to become what we can think about the infinite.
Laura!
Okay.
It's something like that said.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
How do you compare? Okay, you know the word depth, because I didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
Depth.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I take this scuba course. I know this depth.
How do you compare the depth of your connections to other people when you're at home versus when you're traveling?
The same.
The same?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could go back, if you were given the chance to go back 5 years and talk to yourself 5 years ago, what would you say?
Nothing, because you cannot change anything. So, and who I am is because of what happened before. So you cannot change it. I will go to some concert though, by myself.
Okay. How is your iguana experience? And I don't mean the working part. I mean like more the living and community and everything.
Hey, that's nice.
Why is it so nice? I don't know.
Well, there is like, I guess there will be Okay, for the kids that are looking for this video, I will not explain what happened here. It's like a really nice period of time, spending during the night.
Okay.
Let the people imagine what happened.
So how much longer are you here?
Probably till April or longer.
Okay. Do you have any plans after that?
Go to Alaska, probably. We'll see. Or Vietnam, or South America. I don't know. Or shoes.
Bartending?
Always.
Alaska. Nice. What would you say to someone that wants to travel but they're scared to do it alone?
Take your little guts outside and do it. Just do it, as Shia LaBeouf said. No, there is a process. So decide or don't decide. It's up to you. Fuck off everyone. They say it's easy. You can do that. Blah blah blah. Yeah, always it's easy, but it's always easy after you start doing that. So remember that how we can say the most difficult step through the travel is the first one. Then it's good.
Yeah, definitely. Of the time that how long have you been here total?
3 months.
3 months? For the 3 months that you've been in Guatemala, how much money have you spent?
Not that much because it's pretty cheap here. So it's like I don't know, making a guess will be $1,000
Okay.
US dollar.
Okay, now I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna ask you the first couple questions again
Yeah.
because I wasn't recording. Name, age, and country.
Argo 24, Italy and the planet.
What were you doing before this?
I was talking with a UFO for conquering the world, and we are pretty near the invasion. I was studying in New York as a bartender in the International Bartender course of the EBS.
Wow, fancy. How long have you been traveling and where have you been?
In the last like a prolonged period, 1 year and a half, and I was in the US, in the Iceland, Germany, and Italy, and before that I was traveling already all around for a small amount of period.
Of all the places that you've been, where would you go?
Nowhere, because there is still the planet to see.
And what does traveling mean to you? Why do you put so much effort in it?
Well, means be free. You have no roots, you have yourself, and a lot of people doesn't have themselves when they are living. When you're traveling, you have just yourself, and it's already a huge conquest.
I like what you said before about like it's the only way to be you.
It's like
No,
it's the only way to be you.
I'm gonna put it in.
Are
So.
you to remake it?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I forget what I said. You know, it's like a full, how you can say, like a flash of consciousness, as Kirak used to say. Everyone that travels loves Kirak usually. But basically, when you're traveling and you're alone and you have no one, and as Pascal said, that you don't have anything aside from water, air, ground, no bullshit like, you know, like cosmic, blah blah blah, but it's real. And you don't have like any, you have a lot of real connections, but those are more honest and true than the real life, because you have the time schedule, you know, like at one point you have to say goodbye to everything and everyone, and it's something that we forget about in general. And when you're traveling, that became back again for real, a thing in our life, and that allows you to be for real who you are. And usually who you are is not what you were thinking about yourself. So that is the cool part. I already knew that before I started traveling, because I was feeling like closed in some ways. And but then, like, when I decided to say, okay, fuck it, let's just go, that will be just censored. I'll just do another time just to be happy. And that's it. You can be free. You can be yourself.
I really agree with that. I think it's like, for me, it forces me to be in the present more and like just make better decisions, and there's no one knows you, so you can be anything and anyone. Okay, Ariwa, thank you so much. That concludes our interview. Anything else you want to say? Okay, so this is going to be very casual. It's just going to be like a conversation between you and me.
Okay.
So I just have some questions. So name, age, and country.
My name is Pollo. I'm 35 and I'm from Argentina.
What were you doing before this?
Right before this, I was at home doing nothing. Right before that, I was doing a dive course. Right before that, I was a waiter. Right before that, I was a dishwasher. Right before that, I was an engineer. Right before that, I was at school.
Okay. How long have you been traveling and where have you been?
I've been like 3 years and something. I've lived in France, in Mexico, in Honduras, and in Guatemala.
So all those jobs that you mentioned were in those past 3 years?
Yeah, like
Wow.
a year and a half in France, 5 months in Mexico, 3 months in Honduras, a year and a bit in Guatemala.
We're gonna take an intermission.
So every time you want to buy something, you just say, tell him I'm going to Okay. The other studio up there.
Intermission.
Yogurt 8.
Let's look at the mountains up there really quick. These are guests. Is this illegal? I don't know.
Magnus in the wild.
Magnus in the wild. Okay. Of all the places that you've been, what was the place that you love so much that you'd go back?
Honduras.
Honduras?
Yeah, but I think it's because just I was not doing anything there, just diving. So it's more.
Yeah. What does traveling mean to you? Why put so much effort in traveling the past 3 years?
It started as a way to find what I wanted to do, and also a bit of like, okay, I want to know what's out there.
Okay. It's hard because you've been traveling for 3 years, so this kind of is your home life now. So if you can't answer it, it's fine. But the question was, how do you compare your travel life to your home life?
See, no, travel like this, my home life now.
Yeah.
But still, like every once in a while, like this is my home life now. But now I'm like picking everything up, and I'm gonna move to the next place. And for a while, I'm gonna be still like trying to figure out what to do. Or like travel life is a little bit more exciting, not exciting, but like what's the word? You never know what's gonna come next. So it's more intense, I think is the word. Like everything seems longer and everything seems, because you never know where you're gonna sleep tomorrow, what you're gonna do next, or where am I gonna be in March? No idea.
Do you like that? Do you like, because a lot of people, that would really stress them out. So do you like that?
See, I really like that. I once heard one YouTuber traveler, he said something along the lines of like, when you don't know where things are and what you're gonna do next, days get longer, so you live more. Something like that.
I love that.
Pretty cool.
How do you compare the depth of the connections that you make when you're traveling versus when you're at home?
I think they can be as deep, but they get as deep in less time. I have friends at home whom I've known all my life and I still talk to them, and I have friends in parts of the world who I've met for a couple of months, and it's the same depth of connection, and maybe we don't see them for a long time, but every once in a while you will coincide somewhere.
My handwriting is getting erased. Okay. If you could go back to yourself 5 years ago, and would you say anything, or what would you say? Any advice?
I want to say like go out and do it now, but I also think like I started when I was ready to start. game at the moment.
Okay. How has your iguana experience been? And by that, I don't mean the work part. I mean more of just living here in community.
No, beautiful. For real, beautiful. I really love this place.
Yeah. Do you have any? What are your plans after this when you leave in a few days?
Going back home and figure out, back home, back to Argentina, and figure out what the next step would be.
Only 2 more? What would you say to someone that wants to travel but they're scared to do it alone?
Go, don't be scared. You'll never be alone if you're traveling.
Okay. How long have you been in Guatemala?
A year, almost a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Okay, you definitely are the most of everyone. You don't have to answer this, it's up to you. But in the time that you've been in Guatemala, how much money have you spent?
I've been the whole year here.
It's like an estimate.
I'd say $30-50 a month. But I've been living here.
Yeah, because you've been working here, so.
I've been working and living here.
That's amazing. $30-50 a month. It's crazy. Okay. Thank you so much, Pollo. This is a time where I just ask, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add or say, but you don't have to.
I want to say hi to my grandma. And I love the show. And thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Do I need to sit in a certain way?
No. Whatever way you want.
Okay.
So yeah, this is just a conversation between you and me.
Without a camera?
They're not
There's
here.
no
They're
camera?
not here. It's really easy questions just about your travels, what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So the first one is your name, age, and country.
Okay, I'm Jo, Josephine, age 25, and Belgium.
I'm like, okay, I'm just making sure I'm recording for a sec. Okay.
Do we need to do that again?
No, we're good. What were you doing before this?
I was working as a speech and language therapist in Belgium in a hospital, and then I started traveling.
And what are you doing here?
I'm the manager at the moment, one of the managers in the Iguana Perdida.
And how long have you been traveling and where have you gone?
I started a year and a half ago in Costa Rica, then I went to Mexico, Guatemala for a long time, and Belize just for the holidays.
Of all the places that you've been, what was one place that you really loved and you would go back?
Mexico, San Cristobal. Yeah, I have a feeling that's a very good place, a mix of art, culture. It's hot during the day, it's cold at night. It's a city, but it's not a big city. It's a mix of all the good things.
I agree. I think this place reminds me a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I always say that I think that's my favorite place I've ever been to. It's so beautiful.
And the art, I love how there's lots of workshops of art and just art shops, and it's a good place.
Anything you want to do, you can do there. Like seriously, anything you want to learn. What does traveling mean to you? Why put so much effort into doing everything you've been doing for the past year?
Because traveling means not to be stuck in one system, in one certain way of living, because you go to a different place, you need to adapt, you need to meet different people, you need to adapt. So for me, living in Belgium was being stuck in a certain system, certain routine, certain way of living that after a few years I was outgrown. So traveling means to just keep changing that, keep changing yourself. Not to be stuck in a system.
Yeah. And this is like a question that's just more unique to you, but you were working in Belgium and then you made the decision to quit and try something completely different and come here and be the manager of a hostel. Like, why? It kind of was explained in the last question, but like, why did you do that? And was it difficult? Like, how was that like?
I didn't know I was making that decision. I left for a 6 weeks holiday. I just didn't go back. So it felt right. I just didn't know what I was doing yet, but I was feeling like sometimes your body tells you things that your mind doesn't know yet. So I had that, like I knew I was doing the right thing. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just left for a holiday, then decided maybe I want to extend. Maybe I'll make it 4 months instead of 6 weeks. And then those 4 months, it turned into maybe I'll make it a year. And then when I went back to Belgium, I had my ticket out. I went back half a year ago. I'm back, and I told him maybe I'll be back in 2 months, maybe I'll be back in a year, because I didn't want to, it was too scary to say like I'm gonna go forever and I'll see.
Yeah.
So I just said like maybe I'll just go for a short while, but being here has made it so easy to stay.
Yeah.
So I never knew I was making that decision.
Yeah. Let's see. How do you compare your travel life? We'll stop for a second. Intermission.
Hola, buenas.
Yeah. Okay. How do you compare your travel life to your home life?
I don't know. My home life, I was living the life I was supposed to be living, that I thought I was supposed to be living, so I was not really thinking what do I want,
Yeah.
like choosing for myself. Travel life, you kind of have to choose for yourself because it's you deciding where you go, what you want to do. So I think I'm more responsible now for what I'm doing than what I was doing in Belgium. So yeah, my home life was not boring, but super. There was a routine. Like every Wednesday I did this, every Thursday I did this. Here I have no idea what day it is, so every day is different. So I think that's the biggest difference between the two.
I love that. I seriously love that about traveling, that everyone's like,
See?
what time is it? I don't know. What day is it? I don't
Is it a
know.
weekday, is it a weekend? No idea.
Okay. How do you compare the depth of connection that you make to others when you're traveling versus when you're home?
I would say here it goes fast and deep, and at home it goes slow and it grows into some deep connection, but it goes super slow. Like you see somebody that you just met maybe now, and then in a month you have your second time you see them, and then in another month. So after 3 or 4 months, you get a good connection. Here, you spend 2 days together, and it's like, yeah, I've met you before, or we're gonna travel 2 months together. Like everything goes fast but so deep, and yeah, that's really cool.
I know, I love that. I don't know, like, I was gonna say maybe it's because you're spending so much time together, but at the same time, sometimes that happens with someone that you just met.
It's just because I think you're both out of your comfort zone, so you're both so open, so honest, so out there.
Yeah.
And in Belgium, you're like in Belgium for me, in your country, at home, you're kind of protected by, I don't know, the image you're acting on, or so here everything is just more out in the open. Like, hey, I like you, I don't like you. Tomorrow I'm not gonna spend time with you because I don't like you. In Belgium, I would be like, okay, I'll spend time with you because I kind of said so. Here it's like very honest.
Yeah. Something I really love about the travel culture is just, I don't know, it just seems like, I don't know if people are more like touchy, and I don't want it to sound in a weird way,
No,
but like
it's
loving.
true. Yeah.
And I love that about you because you're super like that. You love like hugging people and just being close.
See, and I think that's because nobody is in their system here. Everybody's just somewhere in the world. So we don't think about those. Is it appropriate to hug you now or no? No, we just do what you want to do.
And maybe also because we're alone, it's like some part of you wants more connection, right? Okay. My handwriting is so bad. Okay. If you could go back 5 years and like tell yourself something, advice or a message, what would you say?
That if you want to do something that others are not used to here, and like if you want to take a class in how to fly a plane and nobody in your environment does it, just do it, like regardless of people saying like, oh, isn't that dangerous or expensive, or no, if you want to do it, because I've been held back a lot. I wanted to start traveling a long time ago. My parents were like, no, it's expensive, no, your career, no. I was like, yeah, okay, to fit the box I didn't do it, But if you have this desire, even though if you have no idea what's gonna happen, like if you think you want to go for a world travel, but after a week you want to go home again, that's fine. At least you did it. So don't be like nothing holding you back just because other people don't want to do it or see it or see.
I think it's only a matter of time before that desire surfaces, and it could be now or it could be 10 years from now when you actually can't do it anymore.
See, and
You know?
now, I mean, I was held back a lot because of money, because I thought like, yeah, but I need like hundreds of euros to do that, or in order to do that I need to have a safety net. No, we're young enough to crash down and rise back up again. So if you want to do something now, there's time to fail and then get out of it. So fail, everybody fail, just fail. That's good.
Fail.
That's my advice. Yeah, please fail as much as you can, as hard as you can, and then you'll learn from those lessons and you'll get stronger.
I love that. How is your iguana experience? And I don't mean the work, I mean the living in community and just being here.
Good. It's been really good. I arrived as a guest, then I decided to stay for 6 weeks, then after 6 weeks I decided to stay 3 months, and after 3 months I decided to stay a year. It's been amazing. It's been connecting with lots of people. It's having a family. Even the family changes because every 6 weeks we have other volunteers. But it's been amazing to just live together, still have your own space, but always be surrounded by people. It's, overall amazing.
I love that. Sometimes too much where you don't have alone time.
See, I have my own room, which is necessary. I really need alone time, but it's cool to live in community, to share, because that's what I learned as well. I've been through things in my past, you've been through things in your past. We cope with it very differently, but in the way the same. And that's why if you live with different people, you see different sides, you learn different stories. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, that you learn from each other.
Yeah.
If you live alone, you don't learn from each other. So.
That's the reason I'm making these videos, because I feel like the biggest lessons I've learned is when I'm surrounded by people like this, and not everyone gets this, so I want people to like hear everything you guys are saying and just like hear something different than what they're surrounded by.
Oh, that's a beautiful idea.
Thank you. I'm like emotional.
Don't cry.
I know.
Please do cry, fail, cry. Do it.
Crying is cool. Honestly, I love crying. I always say that. I'm like, I love crying. And not even in a sad way, like in a happy way. It just feels good. Okay. What are your plans after this?
So after a year living here in community, I'm gonna go travel again. I'm gonna go to Colombia, then Patagonia, Argentina, Chile. I don't know, it's scary to be alone again in the open in a new place, but I feel I need to. That I need to be out of my comfort zone again to keep growing, keep choosing me, because it's easy here sometimes to forget what do I want to do. Like if I want to read my book in the afternoon, but then suddenly you come, let's go and hang near the lake. It's like, yeah, sure. And then tomorrow I'm gonna do the same, and the day after, and I was like, but I wanted to read my book 2 days ago, but I didn't because there's other people. So I'm happy in a way to be alone again, to just choose me and learn to listen to me, because that's the hardest thing. I think we forget to listen to ourselves, like what do I want? So I want to ask myself that question again.
I agree. That's like really hard for me, is like I really enjoy being around people, so as I've been for the past 6 weeks just sitting over there with everyone, it's because it's like so I've definitely not done a lot of things on my to-do list.
See, it's never too late to ask that question. What do you want to do? Like, wake up in the morning, first thing, okay, what do I want to do today? It's not easy to answer that always, but it's an important one.
For me, it's like I want to chill with everyone.
Then that's okay. Know? Then you're doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
That's good. That's an easy answer.
Okay. What would you say to someone that wants to travel but they're scared to do it alone?
That you're never alone. I think my first 4 or 5 months before I went home just for a quick visit was my first time traveling alone, and I told my mom like I had to really make an effort to be alone, because you're never alone. You arrive in a hostel, you meet people, you go to a tourist spot, like you visit a tour or something, you meet people. So it's very hard to be alone. So I would say it's very normal that you're scared, but don't let that stop you, because you're not alone.
I agree.
There's lots of groups, lots of hostels. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. In the past year, you don't have to answer this one, but you can. In the past year that you've been living here in Guatemala, living and working here, how much money have you spent?
Spent?
It could be an estimate. It doesn't have to be like.
That I don't know. I know that I've saved. Is that an answer to your question? What I saved?
Yeah, whatever you want.
I think I saved around 3,000 euros.
Wow!
See, and working a year, so with all my expenses, everything, you can pass if you want.
I can?
Yeah,
Yes, you
go
can.
ahead.
Yeah, I think because I recently did the math, I think I saved around 3,000 euros. So because I didn't have to spend money on food, on my room, but I did some trips like to Antigua, day trips, all those things. I had lots of ice creams. But so yeah, it's been a good year. Not as what I would have saved living in Belgium, but then I would have been living in Belgium.
Yeah.
So not worth the money.
Okay, and then that's pretty much it. That I just like to ask at the end, like if there's anything that you feel called to say or share, or an Instagram you want to plug, anything.
So subscribe, like, what do they always do? Like the thing.
Follow.
So here's gonna be a link. And no, just then a message to you personally: don't stop doing what you like doing, even though now you had a setback. Keep doing. Like maybe now you'll go back home and stay home for a few months, which is super fine. But don't just go home and stay home, because that's what you should do.
Yeah.
If something's calling you outside, go outside. Leave. Because you're happy.
Yeah.
You're happy when you do this, when you do what you love. So. And always send love to Chapo. See?
Chapo, you want to be interviewed?
See? So, name, age, where are you
Country.
from? Okay.
Where have you traveled? Hi, Magnus.
Franny Pants.
Okay, so this is very casual. It's just like a conversation between you and I. No one else is here. Not even Aaron.
Coolio. Coolio.
Name, age, and country.
Magnus, 24, Denmark.
This table doesn't break. Okay, sorry. What were you doing before this?
Traveling. Should I elaborate?
How long were you traveling and where?
Before here, I was doing 4 months, where I started 3 weeks in the States, a month and a half in Mexico, 3 weeks here, then 2 weeks back in Mexico, a week in Belize, and then a week around Guatemala, and then again here.
Of all the places that you've been, what's a place that you love so much that you would go back?
La Iguana Perdida. And San Cristobal de Casas.
I agree. San Cristobal is amazing. So is here. I think they're very similar vibe.
Better food in San Cristobal.
Definitely.
Great food.
What does traveling mean to you? Why put so much effort in what you've done the past couple months?
To meet people, make experience, history, and drinking.
Drinking. I think I forgot to ask you. What were you doing before this?
Back in Denmark, worked in the restaurant business.
You're a chef, bro. You're not gonna say that.
Okay, yeah, I was working as a chef, but I didn't work as a chef. I worked as a operations manager in a small restaurant chain.
Okay. How do you compare your travel life to your home life?
I drink more. Try to be more open, and got away from the conclusion that I kind of hate people. But now I've decided that I might not hate people as much as I thought,
Why do you think you hate people?
because people are annoying. They have opinions that are not the same opinion as mine.
So you hate the people of Denmark?
No, not really.
I'm just kidding.
I hate
Okay.
people of certain parts of Denmark.
How would you compare the depth of connections that you make traveling versus at home?
I feel like people are way more open because we all travel for the same reason, and that for that reason, people are wanting to make maybe 2-3 days friendships, and you can have the greatest time of your life in those 2 or 3 days, and then sadly you have to say goodbye to them afterwards.
We're gonna take a break so they can walk away. Okay. Hal, you're not supposed to hear the questions.
You know,
Okay. If you could go back 5 years and give yourself advice or tell yourself a message, what would it be?
have more sex
Okay.
and start having. Kind of had faith in myself back then, and was way too confident. Maybe get less blacked out drunk. I was in a good mood. Punch some more people in the nuts.
I'm not sure if I asked you this one already, but did I ask you how you compare your travel life to your home life?
You did.
Okay.
Kinda. Did you?
How do you compare your travel life to your home life?
More adventurous. Less annoyed. And more wholesomeness.
Wholesomeness?
Trigger word, yes.
How was your iguana experience? And by that, I don't mean the work. I mean, like living here in community amongst other volunteers.
Fun. Adventurous. Incredibly interesting meeting people. Not only the volunteers, but also all the locals. Hear their interesting fucked up lives and how random people get together and some sort that they might not have become friends where they're all from, but because they were forced to here, then see the difference between people still can become lovers.
Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite parts of traveling. It's like sometimes the person in the room that you judge them off the bat, and you're like, yeah, we're probably not going to be friends. You end up being really good friends later.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans after this? What are you doing?
I'm going home on Thursday. I come to Denmark, yeah.
And doing what?
What?
What are you doing when you go home?
I'm gonna go back into my operations manager's role when I come back home to Denmark in the same little restaurant company I work for. See if I have a kid. Well, she wouldn't have given birth yet, but
A possible kid.
possibly there's somebody pregnant when we come home.
What would you say to someone that wants to? What would you say to someone that wants to travel alone but they're scared?
Do it. Put your ass into it. You can do it with your back. It's not that scary. Like, if you ever show up to a place, see if there's a group of people, sit down, say hi. Maybe if you want to become a real good friend with them, give them the first round. It's cheap in Central America or Southeast Asia. Yeah. Give the first round and then they will immediately love you.
Yeah. All it takes is a hello
And a beer.
and a beer. Okay, last question. How long have you been in Guatemala?
This time, just around 2.5 months-ish.
Okay. Hold on. Just in case. Okay, so the time you've been in Guatemala, how much money have you spent?
Gonna check.
You can just guess, like an estimate.
With the amount of money both with flight tickets and because I also paid rent from home back home. Does that count?
Oh no, rent back home doesn't count.
Okay.
I don't think tickets do either, because like once you're here, it's pretty cheap to move around.
I would say I'll have to convert that into US dollars.
Just say it in whatever and I'll convert it.
So that would be, I would presume around 12,000 Danish kroners. So that would be between 1.5-2,000 US dollars ish.
Okay, that's pretty much it. The last thing is if there's anything you want to say or share or plug, anything at all.
Just a second. Bam, bam, back the wind. People are prettier with clothes on. And Aaron has a secret. Ask her about that.
What about if you're medicated, you're not?
Medicated, shout out mental illness. Shout out mental illness, dude. Like, if you got a mental illness, dude, like, fucking turn up, dude. Like, seriously, dude, fucking. If you're medicated, you're not medicated, dude. Like, seriously, dude, fucking. Bro, I put my steak in a bag of Doritos and the bitch took the dust off the tip. R.I.P. Betty White. Cause she dead. Free TK, free Palestine.
Okay, thank you.
What was that? What was that last bit?
Aaron has a crush on me.
Oh.
You
Hostile drama.
I would like to deny this statement.
You can do that, puppet people. You're done.
Hi.
Hi, Desi.
Hi.
This is gonna be a super casual conversation, even though the phone is in front of my face. Usually isn't. Yeah, but basically, I'm just gonna start with your name, age, and country. So you can start.
My name is Desiree. Desi. I'm 35 and I'm from New Zealand.
What were you doing before this?
For this, when I was at home, I was working a job, a really great job, just living a very settled life.
I'm just gonna pause 1 second. Just to help a little bit. Just to help.
Do you want more detail or do you just want?
Yeah, you could do that one again. What were you doing before this?
I was living at home in New Zealand, living a wonderful little life, very settled, just working a job, and enjoying my time off with my friends.
What were you doing? Like, what
was I
was your
doing for a
job?
job?
Yeah.
I'm a hairdresser.
Okay. And how long have you been traveling and where have you been?
This trip, I have been traveling, I think almost 6 months now. Scary thought. And I was in Mexico, and then I came here, and I've been here for 3 months.
Nice. Of all the places that you've been, what's the one place that you love so much that you would love to go back?
I don't know that I would ever say that about anywhere. I've loved
Yeah.
lots of places, this trip and every other trip that I've been, but there are so many places in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would go back to anywhere specific. I just want to go somewhere new.
Yeah, and also like, it's just, I conversate in between. Yeah, it's just like when you go somewhere, it's like never the first time again. Like
No,
that feeling.
it's never the first time again. I think that's why I like to stay places for a long time.
Yeah.
I like to feel familiar and really like feel like I know a place. Because yeah, the chances are I probably won't come back. Or not for a very long time. There's always somewhere else that I would rather see before I go back somewhere that I haven't been before.
What does traveling mean to you? Why put so much effort in it?
Into traveling,
Yeah.
I think that if you are always at home and you live in a bubble and you do nothing but the same things all the time, you're mindset is very closed. Even if all you do is go to a different place and see different things and meet different people, your mindset is automatically more open than if you don't. Like if you live in a small town, in a little bubble, you never leave, I'm sure you're wonderfully happy. I'm sure you're having a great life. But you know nothing about anybody else or about how other people live or what it's like to be in a different country. And I think that's really important. And I think it's important to have an open mind about things.
I agree.
In the same way that I think that you should never work the same job your whole life.
Yeah.
Because that closes your mind.
How would you compare your travel life to your home life?
My home life is definitely more settled, and I think I have very much more structure in my life at home. It's not to say that I do the same thing all the time, but I have my same morning routine and I have my same evening routine, and my life is way more settled.
Yeah.
And I think, again, why I like to travel for long periods, because I can try to find that structure again and amongst those things. So volunteering is great. It gives me a purpose.
True. How would you compare the depth of connection that you make to others when you're traveling versus the ones at home?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think the connections that you make while you're traveling are much more intense. You know, you meet people and you might only see them for a few days and you might only get to spend a small amount of time, and so you're very intensely connected. Whereas at home, I think you have more time. You know, it's a slower process. You get to learn more things about people. They're still just as deep, I think, but just in very different ways.
Yeah. Okay, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself 5 years ago, or give you like a message or anything, what would you say?
That's a terrible question. 5 years ago. Be brave.
Yeah.
That's it. Be brave of everything. Because my life was so different before than it is now. And it's only been in the last 5 years that my life has been so different. And it only takes one moment of bravery to make a decision or to make a choice or to change your life. And it literally changes your life.
Yeah. How is your iguana experience? And I don't mean the travel. I don't mean the work. I mean like the living in community and just being here.
I love it. But I love having a community. I love having a stable environment. I love feeling like a family.
Yeah.
And I've been here for a while now, and this is the second lot of people that have come and gone. And I will see another lot before I leave. But I like that. I like the family. I like hugging people in the morning, and I like feeling connected to everybody and feeling comfortable here.
Yeah.
I like leaving my shit lying around and knowing that it's going to be there when I go back later. I think it's super important. It's nice to create those communities while you're traveling.
What are your plans after this? Are you gonna go home? Are you gonna keep traveling? Are you gonna get a job?
Story of my life. Who knows? Does anybody know? Did anybody have an answer to that question?
Yeah, actually.
Wow.
But I feel the same.
I don't know. I will travel until I run out of money, or I'll travel until I want to go home. I don't really have a plan.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Okay. What would you tell someone that wants to travel but they're scared to do it alone?
Don't be. I know that sounds like a really simple answer. It was the best thing I ever did. My whole life, it was the best thing that I ever did, because you don't know yourself until you're in unsettled environments, until you're in different places, until you are forced to put yourself out there. And it will make your life so different. It will make your life so much better. For me, it did anyway.
Okay, and then you don't have to answer this one, but the people are curious. So, in how much time have you been here? In Guatemala?
In Guatemala, just over 3 months.
3 months. How much money have you spent in the 3 months in Guatemala?
Ooh.
It can be in your currency and I'll change it.
How much money have I spent? Wow, that's a great question.
Big and guesstimate.
On my tabs here, I've spent, I think oh no, because the first time I was here as a guest, and I spent over 1,000 Q for that first week. So 1,000, and then my tab the second time was 600. I think currently I'm at about 400, and that's just on tabs here. And then actual travel, I don't know, maybe 5,000
Q?
Yeah, 5,000 Q, maybe?
I'll do the math.
Bad with numbers. Maths
Alright.
is not for me.
That's it. And
it?
I just like to ask like if there's anything you want to share or say or plug, like anything at all. You don't have to say anything, but
Jerry's PowerPoint and Aaron's Instagram. No. What do I want to plug? What is important? I want to plug just being happy. That's the most important thing, I think, in life. Just find all the joy that you can.
yeah.
Take it and run with it and keep it as long as it's there.
Because you never know when it could be your
Because
last
you never
day.
know when it's gonna be your last day. And that is true of everything.
Literally.
You never know when it's gonna be the last time you see someone. I know. Stop it, you're gonna make me cry. But it's true. Find all the joy that you can and hold on to it for as long as you can.
I love you. Whoa.
For sure.
Hi, Callie.
Well, hello.
Name, age, and country.
My name is Callie, currently in Guatemala, but from California. And my age now is 26.
What were you doing before this?
Before this, I was living in Philadelphia on the East Coast and traveling through California and Hawaii before I arrived to Guatemala until I found the lake, and now I'm here forever and always.
What are you gonna do here?
I am gonna put my feet in the water every day and
I meant like,
and do some managerial things with my fingers.
Sorry, just I don't know if you said like you said you were traveling, but did you say how long?
I've only been traveling a little under 2 months.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Okay, you already said and where? Sorry. Okay. If all the places, of all the places you've been, what's a place that you love so much that you'd go back?
All the places I've been, I have to say I'll always go back to Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful and magical. So yeah, the islands of Hawaii.
I would love to go. Which island did you go to?
Big Island is where I lived for a couple years, and that's where my dad lives. So luckily, I'll always go back there.
What does traveling mean to you? Why put so much time and effort in it and money?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm learning still why I love to travel, but there's a lot of reasons. But I think that the earth was created with all this space to explore for a reason. I don't think we're supposed to just be in one place where we're born for our entirety, and I think that's why we were given legs and mouths and body parts to move so that we can actually physically explore the outer to also explore the inner through doing that.
Nice, I love that. How do you compare your travel life to your home life?
I feel like my home life is just my pre-travel life. I feel like when I'm home, it's just like saving money to continue traveling. But there's pros and cons to each, of course. I like being home in the comfort of, and just comfortable, and traveling is like pushing you out of your comfort zone. So.
Yeah, definitely. You have to like depend on yourself every day. Like, what am I gonna do today?
Yeah. No routine.
How do you compare the depth of connection that you make to others when you're traveling versus when you're home?
I feel like when you're traveling, you get to constantly reinvent yourself and find yourself in new spaces, which for some maybe makes them uncomfortable, but for me, I feel like it's a good process of, yeah, just finding that, just finding something different, you know, and I forgot the main question, but...
like the depth of connection, travel versus home.
Yeah, I think like people are just more open when traveling too. I think everyone's searching and looking for something outside of them, but also like bringing a piece of themselves and where they're from. And so it just creates these more authentic and wholesome relationships because you have no need to hide who you are or be a certain person.
I agree. If you could go back in time 5 years ago and tell yourself something, what would you say?
Ooh, 5 years ago, I was 21. If I could go back 5 years, I don't know if I would do anything different, honestly. I would just tell myself to keep doing what you're doing and just stay confident in that. And no one knows what the fuck they're doing, so you don't have to know what you're doing, and that's okay.
Let's see, where was I? 5, 9. How has your, well, yours kind of just started, but how has your iguana experience been?
Yeah. So far, it's been good. I started as just a guest or just a passerby, and I slowly got sucked in, and now I've committed to being here for 6 months, so still have a lot of time, taking it day by day, but I think it's a magical space. It's an inspiring space. Right.
What? Like, okay, that just looked, that looked completely fake, like.
And the view does not get old.
Yeah.
Not after 3.5 weeks already.
What are your plans after this? Or, yeah, what are your plans after this? You're gonna get a job? You're gonna go home?
We'll see where it takes me. I don't know. I don't have any major plans after this, but just going with the flow, maybe going to Seattle and starting a life out there.
Okay. What would you tell someone that wants to travel, but they're too scared to do it alone?
I would say that solo traveling is by far the best thing you could do for yourself. And it's sometimes even better than traveling with a group. It might feel unsafe at certain times, but it's not, and you could do it, and you should.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Okay, last question. How long have you been in Guatemala?
I've been in Guatemala for about a month now.
Okay, and in that month, or I don't know, you could answer both. It was gonna be how much money have you spent in that month. It could also be your whole trip, but it could also just be Guatemala.
Just in Guatemala, I don't know how much I've spent because I'm terrible at the conversion rates, but
you could say it in whatever. And
probably, I've only probably spent about $600 in a month.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The last thing I want to say is, like, if there's anything you want to say, anything you want to plug, anything at all, your music.
yeah, you know, Calioto, look it up, CLAIOTO. Shout out to Fran for the interviews. I don't know where this video is gonna end up, but I think it'll be good, so goodbye.
Name, age, and country.
Maria Laura Crisi, 32 years old and from Argentina.
What were you doing before this?
Before the trip.
And like, did you have a job? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was living in Rosario and working for Buenos Aires, traveling from home for the local city government of Buenos Aires as a human rights lawyer in policy regulation of Islam development.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, how long have you been traveling for and where have you been?
I've been traveling since mid-October. I came to Mexico City, south, and then to Guatemala for now. Mexico was like 2.5 months, Guatemala 2 months, and now I'm going to Colombia.
Nice. Of all the places that you've been, and like, where would you go back to because you loved it so much?
That's a cool question. I would like to go back to Mazunte and maybe see Chacagua, that is close, that I haven't been to.
Proyecta un poco por si acaso.
El auto. Mazunte and maybe go to Chacagua that I haven't been to. I also, for the places I've been, okay. I would go back to Palenque and yeah, to El Paredón.
¿Por qué Palenque? ¿Por qué te gusta tanto?
Palenque? I like it because it's like a lot of wild and live jungle. Like it's very wild and has a lot of animals. I really like the ruins, and I think I wanted to go see some other communities around it, like Roberto Barrios, and I want to see more about that area.
Roberto Barrios is beautiful.
Everything around it is beautiful.
Okay, what does traveling mean to you? Why are you putting so much effort in it at this point?
Well, traveling for me is like the way to find answers when I'm very insecure on what what path to take. So traveling without a fixed plan gives me my mind the space to get new inspiration and ideas for next stage, and also because I like to meet people from around the world, definitely.
I really agree with that. The part of like, it just gives me new ideas on what I can do, and it makes everything not scary anymore.
Totally.
Okay, if you could go back 5 years ago and give yourself a message, what would you say?
Wow. 5 years ago. To check how long time. Nice. It would be, you can drop it now. But at the same time, then I had the most wonderful professional experience. So I don't know, like, wishing. I think it's more like what I did after, that is like get yourself more into your body, your feelings, and like your own individuality, and try to understand yourself more and be more conscious about your health and your pleasure, and so yeah, be more aware of what you need.
Let's see. Okay, how would you compare your life at home versus your travel life?
It's kind of opposite. Yeah, like at home for me means family and friends mainly, and a lot of time alone because I was working in a group but also from my house. So a lot of time to be in my house and to be with my cat and alone and staying there. It also meant a lot of non-physical activity, which was not good for me. And yeah, it means family to me. But traveling means is myself to me. Yes. And movement.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like quite opposite. Yes.
I like that. Traveling means yourself. Okay, how would you compare the depth of connection that you make with others when you're traveling versus when you're at home?
Oh, that's a good question. I have a very, I think I'm personally very profound person, so I tend to have deep relationships, and I don't continue relationships if they are not significant for me or for the other person, which often is at the same time. So back home, I make a lot of deep connections. So the ones that I made are still with me while I'm traveling. And then I also think that when you travel, you just open up easily, and it's like easy to make deep connections. Yes, enjoy them a lot.
What does the iguana how was your iguana experience? And I don't mean the work, I mean just living there with everyone.
Well, I felt like there was a sense of friendship and community, I don't know how to explain it, it's hard. But I felt like I was in a bit university with all of you, sharing and being playing pool and singing, and also making friends in short period, sharing interests. It felt like uni.
Okay, what would you say to someone that wants to travel but they're scared to do it alone?
Exercise being alone back home, and you'll see it's not that hard. Try to find activities that you enjoy doing alone. Try not to get too much on your phone to do that. Try to find other activities you enjoy doing alone. And then you meet so much people in the roads that you'll never feel alone. If you decide to share with people, you will have the opportunity all the time. But sometimes traveling is also good to be alone. So.
It's an important word you use, if you want to share. Oh, our drinks here. If you want to share, because that is a big part of it, is you need to open yourself up, and the people that have had the most success that I observe are the ones who they get to a place and they're like, hi, I'm this, just right off the bat, hi. That's all it takes for someone to be like, oh, this person's approachable.
Yeah, totally. You don't have to be anything, you don't have to have a special ability or be really social or really beautiful. You don't have to have nothing for people to want to talk to you if you want to talk to them. It's real.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's you have to make the first move. Okay. And then, my last question is, hold on. What are you doing after this?
Wow. I don't know, if you know, you tell me. I go to Colombia for 1 month. Maybe I'll meet Joe there. And then I go back to Argentina because I have a plane ticket. I want to visit my family, and after that it's a lot of question marks. I don't really know.
What are some ideas?
Okay. The thing that I know is that the next travel I want to stay for long in one place. I don't want to keep on traveling month to month, moving to places like in a direction, south, north, whatever. I want to go to a place and stay and maybe just travel in the surroundings. And I'm trying to find that place. Good money.
Yeah.